Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch.
Saturday night is the loneliest night in the week.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the heavy metal happy hour. With the one and only Fishman.
I know that, dude.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Everyone get out!
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy, I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies. Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. While you're rocking with us at Toxic Radio, don't forget to check us out on social media.
I want details, and I want them right now.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Now you're talking, brother.
Chat with us, keep up on news. Just don't make it weird. Don't be a stalker. Don't be that guy.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Welcome to Paradelphia Radio. This is Rick Pruitt here in the brand new Toxic Radio Studios.
Yes.
I have my my little companion here with me, Dougie Doug.
Oh, you called me little.
Little sweet companion.
Does that mean I'm gaining weight again? So you're trying to make me feel better?
That'd be a big companion. That'd be a chunky
I
companion.
used to be a real big companion.
When I call you a chunky companion, then you got to worry about
All right,
it.
good.
All right,
But yes, this is gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like.
This is our first time doing the show in the new facility, and thumbs up on the new digs here. This is pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I will say. In fact, I was talking to Ellie about this actually the other day. With seeing like pictures that Mike's posted up about it. You know, we kind of came in. You met Mike and everything from like the beginning, and it's like, yeah, we went to Wildfire for a little bit, but like to see how far the man has come to where he's at. I mean, dude, major props, man. I definitely got to say, like,
all right.
Yeah, good shit.
And we have pizza.
Oh, really?
I think.
Oh, so
there's a box. It doesn't mean there's pizza.
Well,
but
that's
there's a box.
Mike. See, now that's the same old Mike, though. He would give you a pizza box and then just say, hey, it's the thought that counts. So.
All right, so tonight we are supposed to be talking with Paul Evans Pedersen about the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, the legend and lore. I am not 100% sure that Paul's gonna make it with us tonight. He is still pending, so hopefully he will call in here and we will get him online and be able to talk to him.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that, in the meantime, we are going to do some thing that we have not done for a while here on the show.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since we did this. We're gonna do some para news.
Yeah, all right.
Four corners of planet Earth, from the far reaches of the known universe. You can run, but you cannot escape. Paradelphia News.
We hired him back, huh?
He's back. He never left.
He negotiated his contract.
Yeah. we pay him double what we paid him before.
Oh wow, well,
which is nothing.
I was going to say it's about my contract. So
double if nothing is nothing. All right, so the news here is going to come from mysteriousuniverse.com. They have collated some cool news stories, so I'm going to cherry pick off of them.
Okay, yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's how we roll here.
Yeah, that and Unexplained Universe, two of my biggest ones. Yeah. So.
So the first one says, using a new X-ray technique, scientists in the Netherlands managed to digitally unfold a 17th century, quote, locked letter. A letter which has been folded into its own envelope, and read its contents without damaging the paper. They were probably relieved when they got to the salutation and it didn't begin with, Dear John. So this locked letter, I've seen pictures of this, and it's kind of like in school. You remember in school when the girls used to fold letters to each other and pass notes, and they would lock them. They'd fold them like origami.
Yes.
And you couldn't like blowtorch them open.
Right. And you know what? And I'm not going to lie, because I was in that generation when, like, you had a girlfriend and you would pass notes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to know some pretty badass folds.
So this is kind of like that. Like I guess this is what they used to do back in the day when they didn't have, they couldn't run to Staples for envelopes.
Right. Or send a Facebook message.
They would lock these letters and fold them into like this weird origami thing.
Wow.
And I guess these letters are so old, 17th century, so you're talking about 300-400 years old.
Yep.
They don't want to mess with the letters. The paper's probably fragile.
Right.
So I guess they found a way to read these letters, which is crazy because the way it's folded on top of each other. So I'm not quite sure how that.
Right, and not only that, because being that long, the ink, the way ink was and stuff, like
the degradation of the ink. And
right,
whatever.
there's just all kinds of different things.
So they're probably making shit up.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Here's what the letter said.
Right, it's just like we just found the answer to life, But yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Right. So
Even back then.
Yeah. Next story says to stop an annual destruction of 4 billion male chicks. It's like the chick apocalypse.
I would say.
Useless to farmers because they can't lay eggs. Wow, that's harsh. Jesus Christ.
You have no purpose.
Right. You got a dick, but you have no purpose.
Right.
The Israeli. Well, how do you impregnate the egg? The hens, though.
I will, because like I said,
are they being used?
Well,
should we start a what's that hashtag?
What's that? Save the chickens or something?
Save the chicken.
Yeah.
No, what's the one now? It's big. Me too. Me too.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Me too for the chicks.
Yeah, but just because Melly and I, we've always raised chickens and everything. And believe it or not, just a quick background.
Do you whack the males?
No, the hens will at least produce, especially in the spring, like eggs all the time.
Yeah.
And that's where you eat them. And believe it or not, a hen can actually determine whether the egg it lays is inseminated or not.
Right,
like it is weird and interesting. There's a lot to it, but
male chicks are people too.
Yeah, save the roosters too.
So anyway, the Israeli ag tech, which I guess is agricultural tech startup Egg XYT, has found a way to use CRISPR gene editing to make chickens lay sex detectable eggs.
Oh, geez.
So those destined to be males can be removed and sent to the grocery store instead.
So you're eliminating.
So this CRISPR thing, I've heard this before.
Okay.
This CRISPR technology basically is like Frankenstein in a box. Because basically what you can do with this is you can edit genes to manipulate the genetic code of different creatures.
Right.
So on the positive side, the idea is, I guess, if you have a baby in utero and it has some kind of a defect, you can use this CRISPR to change the defect into normalcy or whatever.
It's like taking a negative and turning it into a positive kind of thing.
The downside is that you can create mutants.
Yeah, zombie apocalypse of chickens in this case,
So apparently in this case they're using it to make sex detectable eggs. So they don't whack the male eggs. They just don't let them be born.
Right, exactly.
They send them off to become omelets and over easy.
And that's another thing too, believe it or not, like when a hen lays an egg, there is a way to determine, like if you're picking the eggs, one way to determine if it's a baby chicken side or if it's an eatable egg is
using the egg
don't get that started, because we lost like 25 to 30 chickens with a fox and coyote in a matter of a week. So yeah, they got to eat too, I guess.
And didn't they try this in Jurassic Park? Isn't this what they tried to do in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, they took the DNA from dinosaur blood and mosquitoes, used frogs, and now they
tried to make just the males. They tried to make
female.
No, males, because they didn't want them to produce.
That's
reproduce.
Right. But then they found out that they just reproduced within,
as Jeff Goldblum says.
Yep.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Life
Yep.
finds a way.
Let's make T-shirts.
Next story says fans of psychedelic microdosing may be disappointed to learn that researchers at Imperial College in London found that placebos worked equally as well as microdoses of drugs in blind tests. So
That's a lot of chemistry words. I had to think about that for a second.
well, I mean, in a way, it makes sense.
Okay,
We've-
yeah.
We've talked a lot of times about how you create your own reality.
Right.
So if you and there's the what do they call that when you're getting the you think you're getting the drug and you're not getting the drug?
Like
Placebo.
placebo.
Placebo
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, right.
So the placebo effect, that's what this would be. Basically,
Right.
if you think you're getting this psychedelic,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe your mind reacts
Right.
as if you got a psychedelic.
Right. It's kind of
It's
like
belief.
Right. It's kind of like an example, and I'm going back to like high school days where you have someone that likes to like drink all the time, but you're giving them O'Doul's, and they don't realize it.
And they act drunk.
They're going to act drunk because they think they've been drinking when really no, they haven't.
That was always a fun game to play.
Right. Exactly. Be like, get the hell out of here. You're drunk.
Like,
you know.
Steve, you're not drunk.
Right. Right.
I've
Stop.
had 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had
You're
12 water and soap.
You're not drunk. Mysterious sea creature. A mysterious sea creature measuring over 23 feet long and weighing an estimated 4 tons that washed ashore on Broadhaven South Beach in Pembrokeshire, Wales, is possibly a huge basking shark, but was too decomposed for biologists to be certain. As always, there was a small contingent that just wanted to blow it up so they could be famous on the internet.
Of course.
Because, of course, there was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these sea creatures that, I don't know, it's hard. We've done shows on sea creatures before. And it's tough to know what's real and what's not real because these accounts all come from like the 1700s.
Well, and not only that, I mean, they say it's scientifically proven that we know more, the little bit we know of space and the universe, we know more of than what we do of the oceans of this earth. So I do believe that there may be prehistoric creatures that may have been extinct out there, but, it's just, you don't have a ship or a boat floating around all over the place in the middle of the ocean. So there very well could be things out there. I mean, that...
What do you think?
Yeah.
Is there a megalodon out there?
You know what? I honestly, truthfully have to say it wouldn't. If they came out and said they found one, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's again, who knows what's out there?
What's the number? Like 5% of the ocean we've actually explored?
Yeah, it's very
Something
low.
ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, like the what's the trench, the deepest part?
Marianas Trench?
Yeah, I mean, even technology can't even get all the way to the bottom of that. So it's just you never know.
And what cracks me up is the so-called experts that say, "Oh no, that's not possible. They died out so many millions of years ago."
Yeah, again.
Well, how do you know?
In fact,
have you been there?
The movie The Meg.
Yeah.
They make a valid point where they were able to like break through this threshold, like this cloud they never were able to, and that's where they released the Meg that was hiding down there all that time.
Yeah, that movie was a disappointment. I gotta say.
Yeah. Even though I like what's his
sucked.
face. Yeah, even though I like what's his face, the main character in there. Like, but yeah, it was
the guy
kinda,
that beats people up for a living.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't.
He's like Bruce Willis, only younger.
Only younger. Yeah. Exactly.
An ancient 4.5 meter or 14.75 foot crocodile weighing 1,100 pounds was captured and pulled from Darwin Harbor, prompting rangers to issue a warning that crocodiles are on the move during the heavy wet season.
Was that new though?
After seeing this creature, a snake in your toilet doesn't seem so scary. So it's 14.5, so almost 15 feet long and 1,100 pounds.
Wow.
Crocodile.
I mean, but again, is that really new? Because you know,
where is Darwin? I don't know where Darwin Harbor.
If I would have get maybe like in the Louisiana, like
down south
swamps or something like that, or the Everglades, who knows?
Darwin Harbor.
All right.
Properly named, by the way.
Yeah, good old Darwin.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Didn't they have? Remember that thing they had a few years ago at Disney World where the crocodiles were eating people?
Oh yeah,
they ate the little girl.
They had a couple of deaths,
but they had signs up like "Don't go near the crocodiles," and the dumbasses were going near the crocodiles.
Yeah, in fact, in the past when I vacationed to Florida, like staying in resorts, they would have lakes, and they actually they had signs: "Don't feed or mess with any alligators." You see, just leave them the hell alone.
So you let your 4-year-old wander.
Yeah, again, it's a shame. You sit there and you look at these signs and say, well, of course, why would you put that up there? But then you read these stories and say, that's right, because we live in a world of stupid people.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Researchers studying a 5,600-year-old Stone Age woman's skull in Italy, found in a deep cave without a body, have determined that its many scratches came from the fact that the woman's corpse was dismembered and the skull rolled away down a hill and deep into a cave where an archaeologist needed rock climbing equipment to retrieve it. So, I don't know why this is news exactly.
Right.
I mean, 5,600 years old is definitely
That's,
old.
I mean,
that
yeah.
might be the newsy part.
Right.
The fact that the skull rolled away over the course of 5,600 years and went into a cave.
Yeah.
I mean, no shit.
Well, right. I mean, I guess, it's like you said, I guess the newsworthiness of it is being so old because, again, our history is nothing compared to the rest of the world.
56, so you're talking like 3,600 years before.
Before AD. The AD. So, yeah, like a long-ass time ago, let's say.
Long-ass time ago. Fred Flintstone time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even before that,
Could have been Wilma's skull.
Yeah, hey now.
According to a new study, the Gulf Stream, one of Earth's major climate-regulating ocean currents and a mainstay of weather reports, is moving slower than it has in thousands of years due to climate change, and this unprecedented slowdown could cause it to disappear completely by 2100, causing heat waves, massive hurricanes, and more destructive weather. So, it's hard to tell what is
right.
What is because you never know. Like I get that this is all real stuff.
Sure, right.
But I also get that. Have you ever, like, you have kids, so you know this. Like, you're going to over exaggerate if the kids aren't doing what you want them to do. Right? Go to bed by 9 o'clock on their own, but they're not going to go to bed.
Right.
The boogeyman will kill you at 9 o'clock if you don't go to bed. And their ass is going to be in bed.
Right. It's using a cycle. That's a fucked up psychological way.
So the world has kind of blew this off for so long that I wonder if these aren't exaggerated figures of it. Oh, now we're going to all die in less than 100 years. Are we though?
But
Are
see, here's, and I absolutely agree with you with that. But there is one thing I do have to take into effect, and this is like thinking about like things I've read about, like for example with like Nostradamus, like his prophecies and things like that. Now, granted, he had a lot out there and like the end of times and things like that, and he's predicted so many things that's already happened in a sense. But again, but on that token where you say it's all like a whisper down the lane type situation.
Right.
You take thousands of years of stories, like, yes, just like everything else has an origin, but as the stories have gone on and been interpreted somewhere down the line, you just add more detail and over-exaggerate, and boom, all of a sudden you got this one little detail turns into this whole mess. Oh my God! Everyone's going to die slowly.
But I think what this is scientists in real time are changing the narrative to be more scary.
Yeah, right. To kind of keep everyone, and I guess on toes, maybe, or
to get
control.
people to take it seriously.
Right.
And I get that they need people to take it seriously because you got those idiots out there that are like, oh, there's no such thing as climate change.
Right.
We just had 44-degree weather, going down to 18 below, down to whatever. Texas froze solid.
Yeah, not only that, our seasons do not go with how, like, if you remember, like, when we were younger.
We don't have spring.
Winter was winter, yeah. Fall was fall. Like, now you're getting in the middle of May and having a 35-degree, it's
we literally go from winter to spring in a week or two.
You're right. And even fall is starting to go away. Yeah. You're going to have hot as hell or cold as hell. And that's it.
So it's real, but and I get, in a way, I understand why they're doing it because you need people to take it seriously.
Right.
But if you tend to push it too far and make it seem too dramatic, then you're feeding right into that narrative of, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah, the skepticism begins.
Because what you're saying isn't real.
Right.
So you got to walk that line.
Right, exactly. Like, put scary facts in there, but leave out that exaggeration because, like more skepticism than actual taking a reality. And then, all laugh until it happens,
Next one, it is too early for the season. I'm sorry, let me start this. It is too early in the season for their annual migration, but herds of buffalo have been seen leaving Yellowstone National Park in an unusual direction. The last thing to scare buffaloes like this was Buffalo Bill, so be on the lookout for anyone with a Frank Zappa beard. I don't know what the hell that's, but they try to be funny in these.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
some of them fall flat.
Yeah, I think they try to do it for skeptics reading it, but yet they're trying to be like you just said, So
leaving in an unusual direction. So this actually has a link to the story here.
Okay.
So what this says is, if I agree to have my personal information,
I was gonna
share
say
to everybody.
I was gonna say, like, what are like buffaloes deciding to go to Vegas instead of Florida?
Since the time for migration has not come yet, but the buffalo have begun to actively leave Yellowstone. Mary Greeley posted a video in which she talked about how a huge herd of buffalo began to leave Yellowstone. At the same time, the animals leaving in an unknown direction, although the time of migration has not started yet. Morgan Jacobson said that early last week there were approximately 250 bison that were about to leave the park. So it sounds like what's happening here is they're leaving earlier and they're going in a direction that is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
They sound a bit confused.
Right.
Which could also be climate change.
Yeah.
Could be, you don't want to think about this, but it could be, I've heard that we are overdue for a polarity flip.
Yeah.
Where the north becomes south and south becomes north.
And that will
which would not be a good day.
Not at all.
Or they just might be dumb buffalo. We don't know.
Yeah, you could have that genetic
they might be
genetic mishap in that generation.
Buffalo from the short bus. I don't know.
If any buffalo are listening, we're sorry. Send your hate mail to Rick.
Yeah. Researchers at Tel Aviv University took the ear of a dead locust. It has to be hard to find.
Yeah.
The ear of a locust.
I mean, think of a locust. And you're looking at the little ear.
Yeah.
I would think it'd have a little hole in the side of it. That's it.
You could tell by the earring.
Yeah, right.
He had the one earring.
Yeah, right. There it is.
Take the ear of a dead locust and connect it to a robot that receives the ear's electrical signal, allowing it to hear what a locust hears and respond accordingly. The number one, again, they try to be funny.
Right.
The number one thing I'm not going to read this. It's stupid.
But
anyway, the locust, they put the ear of the locust on this machine so we can hear what a locust hears.
Mm-hmm.
I hear stories like this, and I think of all the millions of dollars that are spent on shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
And do we really need to know what a locust hears?
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Like, of all the things out there, those millions of dollars you're spending, like you said, why can't you put it towards things like, more cancer research, more things like this? Instead, what the hell do I care what a locust listens to?
But they'll give you an answer.
Oh, yeah, and you're right.
They'll give you some kind
right.
of
Like, well, if we don't, then we're not going to fix climate change.
Let's see what this. Let's play the game and see what this says. It says this is the story.
Next, it'll be a psychic locust.
Yeah. A world's first, a robot able to hear, quote unquote, through the ear of a locust. A technological and biological development that is unprecedented in Israel. Again, Israel. The Israelis.
Yeah.
Tossing money away left and right.
Yeah, why not?
And the world has been achieved at Tel Aviv University. For the first time, the ear of a dead locust has been connected to a robot that receives the electrical signals and responds accordingly. The result is extraordinary. When the researchers clap once, the locust ear hears the sound and the robot moves forward. When the researcher claps twice, the robot moves backwards. See,
I'm sorry.
Interdisciplinary study was led by Aiden Fischel, joint master student, under the supervision of Dr. Ben Mayos, blah, 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 who he is, we don't care. Researchers explained that at the beginning of the study, they sought to examine how the advantages of biological systems could be integrated into technological systems and how the senses of dead locusts could be used as sensors for a robot.
I mean, yeah, because we got to know that.
If that's true, that's the same. Like, you could teach people to do the same thing. Like, regular robots clap once, move forward, clap twice, move backward.
Mm-hmm.
You could set that shit up with a Commodore 64 30 years ago.
Right, exactly. So
where are we here with this? How many millions were spent on this? This is what I want to know.
That's you have all these things, but and you're right, they'll have an answer, but like it's so freaking unbelievable. I never will understand.
And our last story of the news segment, the third test of the SpaceX Starship 10 ended with a full-scale rocket reaching the altitude of 6 miles before returning to a successful landing, prompting SpaceX commentator John Insprucker.
That's my boy.
To declare, third time's a charm, as the saying goes, and then the Starship exploded and was tossed in the air before crashing to the ground in flames. speak soon. Speak
Yeah,
too soon.
You know, right.
Innsbrucker. SpaceX does not have. Look, if they offered me millions of dollars to go on a SpaceX rocket right now,
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
I gotta turn that down.
I mean,
Just saying.
let's say this.
They don't have a great track record.
Right. Well, let's say this. I mean, and again, you know how I am with space. Like, if it was a simple just going up to orbit, like, they've accomplished that. But like you said, were there, because like one of the
I don't
things
know about that. They haven't gotten off the damn pad yet.
Well, one of the things they just, after like a decade or even more trying, that they just got was the returnable booster rocket. So when they launch a rocket, much how back in the day they would just have them fall into the ocean and recover.
Right.
Well, now what they do is once it goes, comes off of the rocket, it actually will land back down. They just accomplished it. They've been working like 20 years on that. But on a side note with space also, I don't know if you saw, but they just about a week or two ago landed a new rover on Mars.
Yeah, I did see that.
And what's cool about that is you had live, live video.
Right.
As it's coming down and landing on it. Like, I thought that was pretty cool, but
You saw Marvin waving his flag.
Well,
Marvin
it's
the
funny. I was
Martian.
thinking of that. I was watching it like, let's say there is life out there. Like, it would be like, imagine us walking down the street or something like that, and you just see this random thing land, and like, you're like, okay, we're here to explore.
But maybe we have.
I mean, and
maybe we have.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in the form of a leaf.
And the people that say that it is are formed of being crazy, or they're said to be
never
crazy.
knows.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
I did see that, and in fact I posted a picture on social media yesterday, I think it was, where and I can't explain this one. It could be dust on the lens, but it looks like
the bird.
Right.
Yes.
It's a shot of the landscape of Mars.
Right.
And way in the distance, there's a little speck, and if you
Mhm.
spread the picture out and enlarge it, it's something that looks like it's flying across the scene.
Right.
Now, it could be a speck on the lens. It could be, I don't know what else it could be, I guess.
Exactly. I mean,
there aren't many options in Mars.
Exactly. I mean, you have such a thin atmosphere as it is, but
Like,
here
what's gonna
you
be
have,
flying around?
Right. Yeah. No, I did see that. I mean, and see this rover they have. I mean, much like the other rover that they lost, it's exploring, but it can drill in different things. But one thing I hope they do is all of these different. Okay, I see.
Yeah, we have the picture up.
If you're on Facebook looking at our live feed here, they posted a picture of it on there. But like you said, you posted on our Facebook.
Right.
But
in the distance, that little
it
speck
does.
there is the
it's
quote unquote bird.
Right. And but one thing with this rover, you watch these documentaries from like the Mars orbiter where you see like the different face and the pyramids they claim are there.
Right.
They need to take these rovers and like, I mean, granted, I know it's not like simply like, going down 295 for us, but like kind of make that, like send the rover there. If it's not, shut people up and say, this is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
All fascinating.
Well, interesting, some news to catch up on.
Yeah,
here.
definitely. Yep.
So we have not yet heard from Paul. I hope he is okay. I'm going to check in with him after the show to make sure everything is well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So best of everything to him. Hopefully he's all right.
In fact, we've been trying, which we'll talk about, more in the future. But we've been trying to all get together with Paul, and things always seem to happen. You know what I mean? But and again, not everybody's healthy, but it's like
it's one of those things
destined to not. But
so
it will not stop us.
Yeah. So in lieu of talking to Paul, I know that you've been doing some research on the Pine Barrens for a while now, to get our feet wet with regard to a project we're working on.
Right, and to kind of and I know I've kind of discussed it here and there over the years. In a nutshell, I've always and Rick, again, it's ever since again doing ghost research and everything. Of course, having that interest in the Pine Barrens because here we are from New Jersey. Who wouldn't? All the mystery surrounding it.
Right.
And I've always wanted to. Something that no one's ever done is take these legends, not just the legends you hear, Jersey Devil. Everyone's heard about that. All the things like, the blue hole, like, the Atco ghost. Like, I'm interested in the digging deep mysteries that you don't hear every day about.
Right.
And with that, especially since COVID started, where like the whole ghost research field's kind of slowed down a bit, it's given me a chance to really do a lot of research over it. And basically what the objective here is we want to go in cohorts with Mario. We discussed it briefly with Mario and Paul being the expert.
Mario Cerrito.
Mario Cerrito. Yeah. And again, Paul being the expert with it, and actually digging in deeper to some of these specific cases, these mysteries,
Right.
and putting something like online, and
Right.
showing people and finding out a little bit more than just the Jersey Devil and things. So,
Yeah, I've mentioned before that my intention with this show, right from day one, has always been to focus mostly on, it's called Paradelphia for a reason, because I
Right.
intended to have the show be mostly about local information, local legends, and things like that. It's tough to do that because it's a big wide world and there's a lot to talk about. So I kind of expanded that.
Right.
But I always love to come back to Jersey, come back to this area and focus on something local.
Right.
Which is relevant to the people here in the Delaware Valley and
Yeah,
South
absolutely.
Jersey and Philadelphia.
And not only that too, I mean, honestly, ever since I was younger, like, and to this day, one of my absolute local favorite magazines we have is like Weird New Jersey.
Right.
And they've even accomplished that in the publication part of it, where they have taken things even with the Pine Barrens, because a lot of them, these little deep mysteries,
Weird
but,
New Jersey tends to be weird North Jersey,
well,
though.
and you're right, and that's, I've always said this in itself too, with like South Jersey, even in just history. Take away the paranormal of it, like, it's such like the best kept secret.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that happened.
Yeah.
And this was like a pathway to like Philadelphia at the time, which was our nation's capital. And it's like it's forgotten. Because okay, we didn't have big things happen, but there are little significant things that's happened that lead to that bigger picture.
There's a lot of places in this area.
Right. I mean, and with the Pine Barrens, what people, and I even talk to people even people that lived here don't realize, the Pine Barrens is 1.1 million acres,
right?
Which takes up, I think it's just shy of 52% of our entire state.
Yeah.
Not just south, not just north. I mean, so you think of New Jersey, and you think of more than half of it is just forest that's even still been unexplored.
And the other 48% is the cast of Jersey Shore.
Right? Yeah. or the casinos. You know what I mean? But
that's
like
what everybody outside of Jersey thinks.
Oh my
it's either
God!
the Pine Barrens or the cast of Jersey Shore.
Like you go away on vacation, you say you're from Jersey. The first thing somebody wants to say is like fist bump or whatever. Like I never even knew what a fist bump was. Until like it's like no, we should be two different states, north and south. Anyway,
who's that? Smokey or
Smokey
Snickers
Snickers
or whatever the hell her name was.
I don't know. They all had nicknames.
Smokey.
The one that I do know is the Situation, because he was in prison or something for tax fraud. I do remember that name, but anyway. But yeah. So going back to it, there are so many stories, and again, in fact, when I originally, right before the show, we were just quickly discussing, when I came to you originally about the idea, we kind of had the same mindset, and what your advice to me was, again, everyone has heard of Jersey Devil. It's been beaten down.
Yeah.
And we've even discussed the Jersey Devil. Like, one thing you taught me with your research was how that all was an angry neighbor that hated the family and wrote a story about it.
We did an episode on that a while back, where it was basically, what do they call that? A libel suit.
Right. But I say that because that is a prime example of, that's a little story that gives the origin that no one ever knew about as to why the Jersey Devil was formed. And that's what I'm focusing on. Like, I mean, I have lists of research like Captain Kidd, the Black Dog, Golden-Haired Girl. I mean, these are things like, even in my travels and research that I'd mentioned to people who've lived here their whole entire life, I've never heard that associated with.
Do you know some of these legends?
I do.
Why don't you throw one out?
All right, well, let's talk about Captain Kidd. This is one, it's an interesting. So, all right, so Captain Kidd was, all right, so what I have found, so according to the locals in New Jersey, Barnegat Bay, it's one of the resting places of a person named Captain Kidd. And he was basically, he was a pirate. And one of the things that it says is that during the 17th and 18th centuries, locals have shared stories that the ghost of Captain Kidd walks along the beach, but also there have been reports where they said that if there's been Jersey Devil sighting, they've also experienced at the same time the spirit of who they say is Captain Kidd.
Okay.
Which is, again, something I want to look more into.
Is this supposed to be the well-known Captain Kidd or a different one?
Yes, no, this is the well-known one.
All right.
Now, with Captain Kidd there have been reports that he actually has hidden treasures throughout the Barnegat Bay area and that area in the Pine Barrens.
Okay.
So, and it's always been like a local legend, but one of the things that's intriguing about this and part of this project that we want to get into is, okay, well, if it's been said that Captain Kidd has been cited a lot with the Jersey Devil, like, okay, well, why? Why would that be? Or whoever has had these sightings, what were you doing? What area? Things like that. And not only that, digging deeper into research to determine, are these just stories the locals have said from the well-known Captain Kidd that, he would come in and hide his treasure, or are there significant pieces in history that suggest that, yes, he would hide it through the forest? So, excuse me. So, yeah, so that's like an example, because we have a short show. Obviously, you could talk a whole thing about it.
It's a place nobody would look.
Right.
That's one thing.
Exactly.
In its favor.
And what's significant about this, too, is you hear all over the place, like, you hear these famous captains and pirates going and hiding treasure.
X marks the spot.
Right. But then when you talk to somebody and say that here is a well-known captain pirate who they say has hid treasure in the Pine Barrens, like, wait, what? That could be. Not saying it is, not saying it isn't.
Right.
But that's, one of the focuses on, and that's one of the ones I've talked to, like, older people that, and they've never heard or associated that with.
It would be interesting to get a hold of the the historical society down in Barnegat and see if they have any record of that.
Right.
I'm not sure, because it was a pirate and it wasn't. I mean, you don't register pirate ships, so
exactly
they're tougher to find the comings and goings.
Well, in addition to that, too, there are a lot of abandoned, which, again, another topic to focus on. There are a lot of abandoned ruins, still structures standing in certain areas in the Pine Barrens where they would have small villages. So, excuse me, in a case like this, could Captain Kidd have maybe visited for whatever reason, again, looking into history of it, maybe these villages they had for whatever reason, whether it was because he knew someone or he stayed somewhere and liked it, or, whether it was a brothel, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And along the way was like, I'm going to hide this here, because there are little areas that no longer stand, but they have those things. And
yeah, and they didn't know back then. Like, a lot of the industry in the Pine Barrens was based on the iron, because the iron content of the water.
Right.
So they had a lot of iron smelting facilities, and that's what a lot of the towns were built around. They couldn't possibly have known that going forward that was a industry that was going to go downhill.
Right.
So a lot of those towns became abandoned towns in the middle of the Pine Barrens.
Right.
So if he did bury a treasure somewhere near a town that he said, "Oh, this town is where I'm going to come back and get my treasure," that town may not be there anymore.
Right.
Like, literally, physically not be there. You may have some kind of an iron, what do they call those things? Those big iron...
like a shaft or
smelting
thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Smokestack or whatever.
Right.
Is usually all that's left of these towns.
And that's the thing. Like, they show you, if you do and look up where people have come across, if they're hiking, have come across just these random open up areas of, like, these, again, you could tell they were structures, but there's no signs or anything, but at one point it was something. And of course it's all much like an example. I mean, remember years ago we went out and did research and investigated Barry's Chapel.
Right.
I mean, at one point there
we parked on top of it.
Right, yeah, but again, when we went there now, it's all just grown up woods.
Yeah.
And some gravestones that we didn't see because, we parked over top of it.
We literally parked on the gravestones.
We looked. We were out there with 3 hours, sweating, getting eaten up, and when we were leaving is when we found it.
Right.
But again, there was a church there. There was a whole cemetery, but now it's just grown up.
Right.
I mean, and that's just a little area in a small town. And so imagine, again, how many's within this 1.2 acres. So
what's one of your other stories?
Here's another one that kind of goes into this is called the Black Dog. Now, the Black Dog is a Pine Barrens story that tells of the Black Dog. He's a ghostly creature that has roamed the beaches and forests from Absecon Island to, again, Barnegat Bay. Now, in most folklore, English and Germanic folklore, black dogs are considered to be forces of evil. However, the black dog of the Pine Barrens is often considered a harmless spirit. Folklore says that pirates associated with Captain Kidd in a sense,
Right.
on Absecon Island, attacked a ship and killed its crew. Among those killed were the cabin boy and his black dog.
Mm.
So, again, I talk about this another example because how many of these little side stories could potentially, again, maybe a whisper down the lane type scenario, but had an origin at one point.
Right. Well, there's a book that that I've been putting off for years. I started reading it literally like 2 years ago, and chaos in my life happened, and I never got the author of the book on. I was going to have him on the show, and I may still. It's all about black dogs, and he wrote this book. It was mostly England. He wrote it about. But yeah, some of the black dog sightings are thought to be evil spirits. Some are thought to be benevolent spirits that will actually literally help guide you through the woods at night and things like that.
Right.
So it could have been a legend that was brought over from England,
right?
Because they have plenty of them over there.
Exactly.
Or it may be something completely separate.
Right. And again, I mean, there's and especially when it's focusing on areas like that, if it's all within that turn of the century, 17th to the 18th, they could be very well associated by some chance,
Right.
So, this one here is one that we talked about in the past, and I've always been intrigued ever since. Ong's Hat.
Yeah.
Now, Ong's Hat, for those who don't know, if you're listening and you're from Jersey, it is a ghost town. It's in Pemberton Township. It's in Burlington County here in Jersey. It's located, now, I was trying to find out kind of where, because it's all mixed around, but I was like using maps, Magnolia Road, west of what they call 4 Mile Circle, and it's where New Jersey's Route 72 intersects with 70. Anyway, so it was never more than one hat. It appeared on some maps as of 2006 as Ong's Hat still, because there are stories of Ong's Hat being other places, but
right.
So basically, the urban legend with this is a long abandoned small settlement. It remained obscure until its name and location was co-opted in a book called Ong's Hat at the beginning. It was based on stories that circulated on a computer bulletin boards, which held that a cult of outcast scientists opened an interdimensional gateway in this location of Ong's Hat. It wasn't clear as to whether the book was intended as fact or fiction. Now, going and looking up different things that people have reported, there are a lot of reports where people, like whether they were on like a hiking trail,
right,
even driving, to where they will lose time.
Yeah.
They will think that they may be, again, let's say, there was one I was reading about walking trail, thinking it was like a half-hour hike, and before you know it, it'd be 3.5 hours.
Right.
And it just didn't make any sense. So are people just losing track of time?
Yeah.
Is it interdimensional, or is it just something natural?
It would be interesting to find out if there are more Bigfoot creature type sightings in that area. Because
I believe
gnomes, trolls, things of that nature, fairies, whatever you may. Whichever you like.
Exactly.
Whichever fairy you like.
Because I know, I have to say, with all the sightings there are that you say of Bigfoot and things like that, and I think we've had this discussion before. One of the theories out there is the reason why people claim to see Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and then all of a sudden be gone, but there's evidence, is because it has that capability of traveling interdimensionally. And if that's what this legend says, same thing is, because also I've read, in addition to this, where there are a lot of UFO sightings along that area.
Right.
So could that have anything to do with it? But again, how much of it is fact versus folklore that's happened, or just,
completely off topic here.
Yeah.
You said UFO sightings, and I just thought of something I read right before I came to the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, yesterday, I believe this was, if you're a football fan, you know who this is, but the Cleveland Browns quarterback, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, okay.
He and his wife apparently had a UFO sighting last night.
What? Really?
Yeah. He said they were driving back from dinner somewhere near Cleveland.
Okay.
And he saw something drop straight out of the sky, a light drop straight down out of the sky and hover.
Wow.
So
that reminds me of, what was it, the 60s? It was the couple, it was a interracial couple
Benny and Barney
But
Hill?
yes,
Yeah.
and they actually have
They
like
were
her
abducted.
dress.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of they were on their way home from dinner. I think it was the 60s or 50s.
Yeah.
And they say that because they were talking about hybrids and they were like taking eggs and things like that. But yeah, they like
Yeah, the Hills were the first real
right.
publicized abduction case.
Oh, right, right, exactly. I mean,
but this was just again, it just triggered in my head when you said UFOs. I just read this literally as I was walking out the door.
Right, right. Well, and you know, I'll tell you what, especially ever since I've seen the documentary, which I don't know if we talked, what's that doctor's name where where he actually says that he can Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where basically he claims that he learned it over in like England, but through meditation and hypnosis, like you can call upon other beings, and actually they have these things like out in the desert, and they'll have these gatherings that people will come to, they'll meditate, and then they'll show and ask, like,
there's places like that, yeah.
Right, and this doctor, like I'll have to look it up. I forget and text it to you because he did 2 documentaries that a lot of famous people. It wasn't the one with the dude from Blink-182, but this doctor, like I can't. Yeah,
To the Stars Academy.
Yeah, but no, it's very fast because there's 2 documentaries of it. And it's all on Amazon Prime, and I'll even post it. If anyone's interested. But anyway,
yeah. Well, the UFO thing's blowing up, man.
Yeah, and that's right. And and even in this documentary, he actually has someone who's on there who has deemed to be classified, but actually showed. I don't mean classified. He shows his face, doesn't show his real name, but actually shows his past from Area 51 he basically said he was the Men in Black, and their job was to go convince people that they weren't having a thing, and he had all kinds of information, so it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's a topic, like I've said over the years, that's kind of a topic that we haven't done a whole lot of stuff on.
Right.
Because when I first started the show, I thought Bigfoot and UFOs were kind of the cliche.
Exactly.
So I wanted to kind of do other things.
Yeah, dig in deeper to things.
But
it's still out there,
It's out there. We've done a few shows on each of those topics. Wouldn't hurt to revisit them again.
Sure.
Sometime soon.
Right. In fact, I actually Ben Hansen, and it's funny you say that. When we go off air, I'll show you. He actually did a season right before COVID hit of UFO Witness on Travel Channel.
Yeah.
And I actually attempted to reach out to him because I'm friends with him on Facebook. I even have his number, but that was years ago. Well, he actually responded back within a half hour and says, "I'm glad you liked the show," because I was seeing if he'd be interested in maybe like an interview or something at some point on the show. And he said that they're working on a season 2 and where he's contracted with Travel Channel. They work out the interviews, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, but that season he does where, he picked up a lot of different things, like little stories, much like I want to do with the Pine Barrens, things you don't hear about every day, but...
Well, I think nowadays that's kind of where the focus is. It's on the stories, which I agree with. You can only hear about lights in the sky so many times.
Phoenix lights, we all know that happened. That was a big thing.
But how did it, what happened to you? How did it affect you personally?
Sure.
Because there is an answer to that question. It's not, a lot of times it's not just, hey, I saw a light in the sky and went on with my life.
Right.
Like, there's actually some kind of an effect that has happened to people that have seen these things.
Right.
And that's the part that is almost never brought up.
It's just the main idea, and then, that's it. You know, and that's, again, much like anything else, digging deeper to find out more. Because, as you know and have seen, that's where you really get the information. Yeah. So...
And don't think I don't see you in there, Mike.
Hey,
don't think I don't see your ass in there.
I'll tell you what.
You're going to be part of that show.
That dude's got some hybrid babies floating around the universe, because I'll never forget that one. For anybody that doesn't know, Mike, we said it before, Mike has revealed to us years ago, just as if it was nothing. Oh, everybody has that dream about being abducted by aliens. I think there was an 8-second dead silence in that. So, but, it is... It is interesting.
To his credit, he has agreed to do hypnosis or to do some kind of regression.
And with Mike, as our listeners know, where he is the skeptic, that's where you kind of take it more, because we all know how Mike is the skeptic, and the fact, and of course, not saying his dreams are him being abducted, but they say that anyone who has relatively dreams on a regular basis of that are How many? Hey, Mike saved this world many a times, probably. So you get a Medal of Valor, a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Mike and his hybrid offspring.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like 400 of them out there.
You got a planet Mike out there.
There's toxic studios in every galaxy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But and not only that, on a side note too, you always hear these things about the government hides the fact that aliens because it's for national security. Let me tell you something. Aliens out there, if they wanted to get rid of us, they would have done it a long freaking time ago, and then we wouldn't even seen it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
Right.
There.
I mean, you got like the Dwight Eisenhower theory where he met with the Greys back. There was, there's a whole freaking topic in that. But
there's a lot of thought, a lot of new ideas out there with regard to what that is. Is that, are they planted memories? Is that consciousness?
Right. Or is it us from the future?
That's
a big thing too. So, but
there's a lot of possibilities.
I know we're getting close to being the end. I will mention, one more. I mean, and Grant, like I said, I've got many of these, but another one that intrigues me is this one is a story known as the Black Doctor, and this one I found it's a tale of what they call the Black Doctor. He's a ghost of an African American man known as James Still. According to the legend, in the 19th century, he was not permitted to practice medicine because of his race. But he went into seclusion in the Pine Barrens and continued to study the medicine from his books. He also learned herbal remedies from local Indians, because that's a whole other thing in it too. All like Indians associated with it. So anyway, there are different versions of his death. One is that he was unjustly lynched when locals found that he was studying medicine. Another theory states that he was a hero to the Piney community and he died of a heart attack. But either way, his ghost, and they call it the Black Doctor, has said to come to the aid of injured or stranded travelers in the Pine Barrens. Now, with this one, I also found that Dr. James Still, he was a brother of a William Still, noted as he wrote a book called The Underground Railroad. So he was his brother, from that time. He says wrote a book entitled Early Recollections of the Life of Dr. James Still. He had an office in Medford, was the third largest landowner in town, and he was self-taught in the matters of medical botany and used many herbal remedies. So again, you have, in this case, you have a mix of legends of, the ghost, and this is what he did. He helped people in there, even though he couldn't, in a sense, he actually has some history there. So it's kind of like undigging the truth behind, and why do they see him, of course, being injured. So
and all these stories, again, the idea is to dig deeper and to find out if there's any kind of underlying truth to this, if there was a doctor, if he really died this way.
Right.
If there have been sightings, and if there have, try and talk to some people that have had these sightings and see what they literally saw.
Exactly.
So that's the idea of the project we're trying to get together. And we'll let you guys know as time goes on.
Right.
How that's going to play out. With COVID, it's been tough because we haven't been able to get out and do things we want to do when we want to do them.
Right.
But God willing, that's breaking up here sometime this year, hopefully, and we'll be back on a regular schedule.
And not only that, without giving too much detail, I've put feelers out there to different, contacts that I've made over the years with television, and there are a lot of interest, but again, that's a whole other thing in itself. But the main idea is not about that. The main idea is where I've always wanted to do this, because where here we are living in New Jersey, obviously love the paranormal. What better place to dig deep about, the Pine Barrens, where, things from Midget Town to, there's all kinds of basically every aspect of paranormal has been reported within this forest here in New Jersey.
Yeah, and it's an untouched resource in terms of a lot of people talk about a lot of different places in the paranormal. I've heard a million different shows and watched a million different things on TV, and almost never is the Pine Barrens brought up, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
And it's right here.
Exactly. So
let's go do it.
And that's, I have a feeling I'm no psychic medium, but I just have this view. We're going to be spending a lot of times in the woods. So as long as I can share a tent with Mike, I'm all good.
So you can be abducted too?
Yeah, hey, why not?
Get a 2-for-1.
Mike's going to be our bait when we do a UFO project, okay? We're going to put Mike tied to a tree for a week, see if he's got a baby next to him when we come back that looks half alien, half Mike.
He'll be tied upside down when we come back.
Mike's thing is, hey, if she's hot, I don't care.
Put a wig on. Put a wig on the gray. She'll be fine.
What we'll do is we'll dress Mike as a female gray. That's like too. Nah, number love, man, number love. Make him purple.
Purple gray.
but no, in all seriousness, like this is. I'm excited because again, I'm not excited that COVID happened. I don't mean that, but it's exciting because where it has been such a step back from being able to investigate because of this, something that I've been wanting to do much into my paranormal career, it's given me a chance to really push forward with it, and I'm excited about it. And it's again, a lot to learn, and can't wait. So.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up for tonight on that note. Again, I hope Paul Pedersen is doing well. I have not heard from him today, and I'm gonna reach out to him and make sure that all is well with him.
Yeah, because he's definitely somebody too with this project that and I think he's shown interest too.
We will definitely, we'll definitely reset something up and get him back on air, and I definitely want to have him on the show sometime soon. All right, so for Dougie,
hey now,
for the Toxic crew,
brand new beautiful home here,
brand new beautiful home in Toxic Studios.
We can come to a show and get our eyes examined and all that stuff here, man. That's a good place.
I am Rick. We are Paradelphia, and we are out of here.
Good night.